Each day at the Children's Advocacy Center, 3 to 4 children who have experienced the trauma of child sexual abuse walk through our doors for the first time. I'm John Bochenstein, President of the Board of Directors, and while we acknowledge that we're living in an unprecedented moment in our nation's history, we need your help. Out of abundance of caution, we have made the difficult decision to cancel our Believe the Child Luncheon, our only fundraiser event of the year. Today, I'm asking you to respond in a radical way by taking a moment to participate in this virtual event. In a few moments, you'll hear more about how our work impacts the lives of thousands of children and their families in communities across Kent County. Then, we ask that you join our efforts by making contributions to help keep our critical services in place. Thank you.
When we first walked through the doors at the CIC, we were scared. We didn't know what was happening, and honestly, we didn't even know what the CIC was at that time. And it was stressful, but then you come here and it's like peaceful and calm, and there's people that like understand your situation. So even though it is terrifying at that moment and confusing and frightening, you come to find out that the people behind the desk, it's not the first time they've heard that story or the first time that they have had that experience. And so then you shortly realize that you're not in it alone and that there are other parents like yourself.
When a child first discloses sexual abuse, it's usually because they've trusted somebody to feel safe enough to tell that story. And part of telling for the first time, being listened to and heard, is very important. So we want to make sure that when a child is coming here, as they begin to tell their story, that they feel safe and they feel respected and they feel listened to. Children are often very afraid to talk about what happened because there could have been threats. There could be a lot of worries that are in their mind of what will happen if they tell. They're worried about being rejected, they're worried about being laughed at, they're worried about being not believed. So the atmosphere that we want to create here is an atmosphere of safety and of care and of understanding.
She was only 6 at the time, and she was so brave and was able to answer the questions honestly and be able to tell her story even though it was scary to do that. And when they interviewed Sophie, she was only 5. She had just turned 5. She was so little. And so she wasn't able to tell everything that had happened. But they knew enough that what she had to say was correct as well. And we walked back out and they called us back into the room, and Detective Sabota said, yeah, this is real, this happened. And as a parent, your whole world just kind of crumbles. You think, I'm a trained person, how did I not see this? All of the guilt that you didn't see, that they had been hurt and they didn't tell us right away that they had been hurt. It's crushing. It's very crushing to parents. You want to share your story. It just screams inside your head. Like, do you understand what we're going through right now? Do you understand that my daughters got hurt in a way that is irreparable? But yet you can't tell everybody. You can't scream it from the rooftops, but you have to pretend and walk and go to the store and do normal things. And in the back of your mind, all it says is, your children got hurt, your children got hurt. How can I heal them? How can I fix this? How can I make this better for them?
We would have never made it through without the Advocacy Center. There's no way possible that our children would not have made it.
Lucy and Sophie had to hold it in and had to keep this secret, as our older children. Later we found out that they had also been abused. And they had to hold it in. So then once they finally told us, It was like a whole gamut of emotions, like they could finally feel emotions for the first time. And just as we had anger and sadness and hurt, their emotions just exploded. Every day, you just woke up. And during those first several months, it was like we lived second by second. Okay, we have to get dressed. Okay, we have to brush our teeth. Okay, we have to eat breakfast. It was like, okay, is this gonna set them off? Is this gonna trigger something? Is this gonna have a meltdown? Are they gonna be okay? And we limped through the week until we made it back to the Children's Advocacy Center, and I could hand my girls off to the counselors and say, fix them, please just fix them. Like, heal this in them, I need you to heal this, and then I need you to heal this, and this is what made them sad this week, and this is what's hurting them this week. Please just fix them. Even though they understood that he had been arrested, Lucy's birthday was the following week, and she sat in her little bed when we were putting her to bed one day, and she said, Mommy, I don't want to have a birthday this year. And I said, what do you mean? And she covered her head with her blanket, and her little eyes were peering out at us. She goes, I don't want Grandpa to come to my birthday party. Will he be there? He's going to be there, isn't he, Mommy? Isn't he? And I said, no, honey. No. He is gone. He's never coming into our house. And we had to tell them that every day, multiple times a day.
Sure, if kids tell an adult about any kind of abuse, that they believe them. That it's not our job to determine whether it happened or not. We have professionals at the Children's Advocacy Center to determine whether that's justified or not, or whether it happened or not. So I think a lot of times individuals want to determine whether it happened or not. And I don't know how many times I heard from a family member that, well, you'll get through it. It'll be okay.
The girls will forget it.
The girls will forget it.
If you don't talk about it, they'll just forget it and they'll be fine. They had no idea what our house was like for months on end. 4 years later, it's a beautiful thing. We have grown closer as a family. We've had to break down the secrets that they were holding close. We are much closer as a family than I think we would ever have been, because there are no more secrets.
No more barriers.
No more barriers.
Barriers are gone.
We can talk about everything with each other. My son has become a police officer because he does not want any family to ever have to navigate the pain that we did without a helping hand, and he became a police officer because of that. His twin, Megan, is becoming a paramedic so that she can hold the hand of a victim and walk them through it. And she has called me and said, Mom, today I picked up an abused victim, and I was able to hold their hand, and I was able to help them and share my story with them and give them courage to be able to share their story. And that's a beautiful thing.
I wish that the community would understand that just because we don't talk about sexual assault doesn't mean it's not happening. And just because we don't bring this up and warn our kids maybe as effectively as we should doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's happening, and we are so lucky and blessed to have the CAC in our community, to have services and really, really professional people who can handle these incredibly difficult situations. and do it with kindness and peace and grace and calmness when you as the parent are not feeling at all at peace. And we need to support them. We need this to continue. Unfortunately, it's in our community and we need to take action. To someone who would say that this doesn't happen in our community, I would say that I thought that too. I thought that I had a church-going family and we are, middle class. Like, I just didn't feel like that was a part of the world that we lived in. Not in our neighborhood, not in our school system, not in our church, not in our world. And that's not true, unfortunately. And it is happening whether we want to see it or not. And I think that people need to face it. And it's the only way that we can help these kids heal and we can set them up for a successful future. It's the only way.
Thank you for taking time to participate in our virtual event. While we as a nation are experiencing an unprecedented amount of uncertainty right now, one thing that we can be certain of is that child sexual abuse has not stopped. Because kids are not in school, have increased and prolonged access to technology, and potentially less than desirable supervision while parents are trying to juggle work with home life, children in our community are more vulnerable and at a higher risk of abuse than ever before. In fact, despite the shelter-in-place order, here at the CAC we're continuing to see 3 to 4 new cases of sexual abuse on a daily basis, and we expect that number to grow over the next months. Even more concerning, families coming to our center over the past few weeks are presenting with more complex needs as they face new economic, employment, and healthcare uncertainties, which compound the impact of their child's abuse. As an essential service to our community, and despite the risk to their own health, our multidisciplinary team has remained on the front lines in the fight to end child sexual abuse. We continue to provide forensic interviews, medical exams, and case management services in person at our center, while our therapists have been able to provide counseling online and by phone. We've put measures in place to monitor and respond to any increases of sexual abuse now and in the future as a result of the school closures. We've continued to amplify our voice by partnering with the media to educate the community about the increased risk of abuse during these times and what we can all do to keep children safe. Today, your support is needed more than ever before. Historically, our annual Believe the Child Luncheon has raised 40% of our individual and corporate revenue, but because we had to cancel our in-person event, we're at risk of losing that funding without your support. I'm asking that you make a contribution now to help us meet our goal of $185,000 so that the over 1,000 children that will come to the center this year can continue to receive their critical services and reclaim their childhoods. Thank you.